Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. The delay it started a few minutes late. We begin in a few seconds. The Upanishad series. What is the difference between sexual power and sexual energy? The difference between sexual power and sexual energy. I had devoted 2 sessions on Lao Tse's sutras on developing the navel center. Once this is developed, a lot begins to happen within. Now, also I have spoken on the benefits of Kapalbhati, which is a way of yoga pranayam, the breathing exercise, where you exhale with the force, and when you inhale your stomach contracts, and when you exhale, so the process of inhaling and exhaling continues. This particular pranayam has many benefits. Some of the benefits are, if you are obese and want to lose weight and you continue to do Kapalbhati, it helps in that. If your sperm counts are low, it helps in that. It also helps in curing the breast cancer in women. Relaxation, antidote against tension. Many benefits are there because you have learned the art of regulating the breathing. And with this, you become aware of the center of life in you. You remember once you were connected to mother's womb through the umbilical cord, and the center was the one operating. Neither the brain was developed nor the heart. It is said, the moment the child is born, comes out of the womb, and with the first breath, the first heartbeat happens. So even before the development of heart and the brain, the center was operating. And Lao Tse says, if you become aware of this center, the spiritual journey becomes easy. It gives you tremendous relaxation. He says, when you are sitting on the chair, you are not, apparently it looks you are sitting on the chair, but your attention is on the solar plexus. The center is totally relaxed. It continues to move. I recall many years ago, when I was a young boy, we go for a yoga lessons. The instructor will say, Lie down and breathe through the stomach. Relax. How can you relax or breathe through the stomach? The moment you place your hands, you lie down, place your hands on the solar plexus, and slowly you will become aware that your stomach is contracting and expanding. The breathing has gone into the stomach, and the moment it happens, tremendous relaxation comes. When you're sitting down and you are aware of the movement of the solar plexus, the breathing, relaxation happens. This much was spoken yesterday. Today I am speaking on what is the difference between sexual power and sexual energy. Sexual energy is another name for your life force. The word sex has been condemned by the religions. Otherwise, there is nothing wrong in it. It is your very life force. Sexual energy is the natural energy. You are born out of it. It is your creative energy. When the painter paints, or the poet composes, or the musician plays, or the dancer dances, all these are expressions of your life force. If there is no life force, nothing will happen. Not only children are born out of your sexual energy, but everything that man has created on the earth has emerged out of the sexual energy. It can have many transformations. At the lowest level that you know, it is biological. At the highest level, or the peak, or the crescendo, it is spiritual. It has to be understood that all creative people have been sexual. You can see the poets, you can see the painters, you can see the dancers. All creative people are highly sexual. And the same is true about the mystics. Perhaps they are the most sexual ones on the earth because they are so overflowing with the life energy, abundant and overflowing. However, sexual power is totally different thing. Sexual power is politics. It is using your sex to dominate people. Domination can be done in many ways. Somebody dominates because he has money. Next one dominates because he has more physical strength. Next one dominates because he has more knowledge. Somebody dominates because he is clever enough to fool people and collect their votes. And next one can dominate through her or his sexual power. More often, it is a feminine way to dominate. Women can dominate because of her sexual appeal, but it is very ugly and mean way. It is selling your body just to dominate. But all women in different degrees dominate through sex. They use it as a power. To use sex as a power is to degrade one, is to lose one's dignity and self-respect. It is of the nature of pure prostitution. Every woman at one point or the other uses this energy to dominate or male counterpart. Using sexual energy as a profession, selling it as a commodity, may give you a certain feeling of power, but you are destroying yourself by your own hands. It is this sexual energy is not to be used as a political means. It is your potentiality for spiritual growth. Just seed is the beginning and the fruit is the final fruition. At the lowest rung, it is in the seed form, and there it is physical. It is your potentiality for spiritual growth. You can become enlightened only because you have this sexual energy in abundance. There is no incidents recorded anywhere that any important person ever became enlightened. All those who became enlightened, they were highly sexual, but they knew how to transform this energy. An important person has never been a great poet, not a great singer, not a great sculptor, not a great scientist. What is the problem with impotence? He has no life force remaining. He is hollow. He cannot create anything, and to create oneself as an enlightened being needs tremendous energy. Energy that you cannot even imagine. Tremendous energy. Never use your sex as a commodity, as a strategy to dominate. Because you are committing suicide, you are destroying the power that can take you to the highest peak of consciousness, the snow-capped peak of your consciousness. Sex has become a thing of the marketplace. Religions have been repressing this energy, creating perversions which has culminated in dangerous diseases like AIDS, which has no cure. The whole credit for AIDS goes to religions. If they have any sense of being human, then all the churches and all the monasteries and the Vatican itself should be turned into hospital for the people suffering from AIDS, because these are the people who have created them. Theirs is the responsibility. They have forced men to live separately from women. They have insisted that celibacy is the very foundation of religious life. They got a wrong connotation of celibacy. Celibacy means, the Hindi word is brahmacharya. Comes from the two words Brahma and Char. One who constantly dwells in ever-expanding consciousness and moves with this consciousness is celibate, is brahmachari. Because he is doing the movement vicharana, a journey through the various rungs of consciousness, the ever-expanding consciousness. But the churches, more so the Christian ones, have forced men to live separately from women. They have insisted that celibacy is the foundation of religious life. But celibacy is unnatural. And everything that is unnatural cannot be the foundation of a religious life or a transcendence. And as you start moving upward, riding the ladder of meditation, sex is transformed first into love. Sex becomes compassion, and ultimately sex becomes the explosion of your inner being, the illumination, the awakening, the enlightenment. But it is the sex energy, the existential bioenergy that you were born with. But it is the sexual energy that cannot rot. Also, it cannot go into perversions. But if it is to be understood naturally and helped through meditation to move upward towards the silent spaces within you, to pass through your heart and finally reach to the seventh center, the highest point in your psycho-spiritual centers, you will feel grateful towards this energy that it has given that opportunity to you. Right now you feel ashamed of this energy. It is this energy that has given tremendous understanding, the light onto itself. When the words overflow, they create a musical symphony. They create an indelible impression. The sound waves are like the sound coming from the unknown realm. The shame and the guilt that is built around this energy has been created by the religious organizations, founders of the religions. Naturally, the question arises, why did they make such a mess with sex? Although making a mess of sex, they have messed up the whole world and its mind and its growth as well. Why? It is so because this was the simplest way to keep humanity in slavery. The freedom comes when you understand this energy and allow its free movement. But the fear remains. If this energy, if the freedom is given, then it will create perversion at the physical level. But it is the fear created only in the human mind. When energy begins to channel, the more it is generated, it goes into creative forms. It creates you, and all that happens through you is the expression of creativity. But if you want to keep the humanity under dominance, in slavery, this was the simplest way to create guilt around the people. Somebody who feels guilty can never raise his head in revolt, can never understand the nature of this energy, allow it freedom. They have been condemning sex continuously, and their condemnation has led the whole world into a sad plight, into a state of misery, psychologically abnormal state, and they are still continuing to do their work in many different ways. For this, you need to have someone around you who understands this, one who has gone through it, who can explain to you from moment to moment the movement. When the seeker comes in front of the Master, he is like an X-ray machine. He knows the moment to moment progress that is taking place in the person. In mysterious ways, the guidance comes and he brings his light into you. Have you observed a tremendously beautiful phenomenon? Is darkness against light? The mind understands light and darkness are antagonistic to one another. Your room is in darkness. What are you to do? You have to search. If you are not familiar where the source of light is, you stumble. But finally you get a hang of a candle and a matchbox. You light it, or you turn on the switch. The moment light comes in, darkness vanishes. Where does darkness has vanished? You have no time to think, to introspect. I am not saying think, introspect on it. Where that light, where that darkness has gone into. One moment there was darkness, you were stumbling. Next moment there is light and tremendous light. Darkness has dissolved into the light. It is, the darkness and light are not antagonistic to one another. Light is ready to absorb the darkness into it, and darkness is ready to lose its identity, and so it dissolves. It is the spiritual phenomena that we call as fana, the absolute absorption, the drop before it merges into the ocean. It is turbulent. It wants to merge into. It is not a compulsion for it to merge into the ocean. So too, darkness is not compelled to merge into the light, but it is the ultimate pleasure, ultimate joy of darkness to dissolve itself, to completely surrender itself to light and be one with it. The moment it dissolves, it disappears completely, and in place of that there is tremendous light. Same thing, sorrow dissolves into happiness. Your worldliness dissolves into the spiritual aspect, into the light that surrounds, the light of which the cosmos is composed of, the light of awakening, the ever-expanding consciousness, the enlightenment, is the light of which the entire cosmos is composed of. Your worldliness dissolves into it. And the moment it comes to surrender, to dissolve, with open arms, that cosmic light in the form of enlightenment embraces you, gives you its texture. Then Even your worldly life begins to change, your way of looking at the things. And in one way or the other, you will start finding that your outlook towards the world, its affairs, the relations, everything is beginning to change. It is emerging out of your inner silence, harmony, and oneness, as if the entire orchestra of which the human body is composed of is tuned in together, and out of that a harmony, a melody overflows, and it goes on enchanting you moment to moment. That is the difference when you allow the sexual energy, which at the physical level is known by one name, and when it attains fruition step by step. You remember, the journey of life begins in darkness. First, growth takes place in darkness. Then, when it blossoms, it becomes love. Love is part darkness and part light, and then comes light. So first comes life, which is darkness, then comes love, life, love, and light. That's the way the journey happens. And the moment the journey continues, the darkness, the worldliness dissolves into the light. And then life moves in a totally different way, full of light, full of awakening, full of understanding. The ultimate has happened. Only this much for this morning. Until Saturday, this broadcast is live and will be available to those who are interested in sharing it, listening to it again. It will be available on Facebook timeline, and I am still looking for the possibility how to upload it onto YouTube, where it will be permanently available on the YouTube channel. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.